Canfield Local School Board to order, please. If everyone would please stand and roll call. I always forget roll call. Sorry, roll call.
Mrs. DeCaprio, President.
Here.
Mr. Atway, Vice President.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mrs. Kluchar. Here. Mr. Wilkerson.
Here. All right.
Now, please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The board gets the minutes prior to the meeting and we review them so that we don't have to go through every single word during the meeting. So if there is no questions or discussion among the minutes from the May 12th meeting? You
I
good?
move to accept the May 12th regular session minutes. Wilkerson.
Kluchar, second.
Roll call?
Mr. Atway.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson.
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio.
Yes. At this time, I am going to turn the meeting over to Ms. Prince for the review of the treasurer's report.
Okay, I have no comments on the cash summary report. Again, just working on cleaning up the federal grants and getting those closed out for the year. Appropriation report, 11 months into the year with 1 month to go, 92% is where we're at, and that's exactly what 11/12 is. So we're on target with the budget after 11 months as well. The check payment register, just want to point out on the first page, about halfway down, Plug Smart for $140,000. That's our first installment on the high school rooftop unit replacement of those 9 units. And on the purchase order register, the new items start on page 14 that you haven't seen yet. If you go to page 19, there's several requisitions. Career Connections, Woodwork Supply, Home Depot, and on the next page, Grizzly Industrial. Those are all requisitions or purchase orders for a credentialing grant that we're trying to get closed out as well at the end of this year. Don't want to lose any of those funds. So we ordered those items. And then on page 21, 22, 23, there's several purchase orders to Fund 401, which is the Ursuline Preschool and Kindergarten. They've placed a bunch of orders trying to finish using up their funds for this school year as well, so none have to be sent back. So again, working on closing out the year and closing out certain funds. And then the investment holdings, our final CD that we had matured this month, so all that we have is at Star Ohio and the sweep account. Maybe down the road, if any rates start to rise, we'll go back to purchasing CDs. So, anything else to comment on the reports unless you have questions?
I don't know.
You all good?
Thank you, Patty.
Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to accept the financial report as stated.
Campbell seconds.
Roll call, please?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes. Do we have any comments at this time from the public?
Oh, you know what? I don't think I grabbed it. Do you want me to grab it?
Yeah, please. There weren't when I checked, but.
I always forget the one.
Chad Hawks.
Good evening. Chad Hawks, 503 Greenmont Drive. To the board, Mr. Knoll, I return to talk about mitigation measures going into the next school year. Again, kudos to the board and to Joe for offering in-person schooling year-round this past year. Yes, I know that most of the mitigation measures that were used last year were mandated by DeWine and the state. However, those mandates have expired and the decision is solely up to the board and Joe. It's my understanding that no decision has been made, which worries me, because I know there are still people who believe that mitigation measures are effective and that if we didn't have them, children would be at risk. I will say it again, the scientific evidence does not support that belief. In fact, the evidence and data supports the belief that mitigation measures are not effective and children are not at an elevated risk for COVID-19. I ask you to keep an open mind with me. In the spring of 2020, I wore a respirator everywhere I went. I used Lysol to spray my groceries. I used unhealthy amounts of hand sanitizer. At work, in the rooms that I control, I had plexiglass barriers erected. But what we know now, compared to the spring of 2020, means we can and should adjust our approach. This topic can be complicated and technical. I wish I could have hours with all of you to discuss the relevant data, but I have 3 minutes. So instead, I decided to write a 15-page paper last week regarding the scientific evidence as it stands and whether Canfield should keep mitigation measures. This paper cites every claim that is made. The 42 footnotes are almost exclusively references to medical or scientific journals. I know that at least 2 of the board members have science degrees, so they might enjoy it more than others, but here's a list of the various claims that are covered and supported by the data. 1, COVID-19 is almost never spread by asymptomatic individuals. 2, COVID-19 is not spread via droplets, but primarily through aerosols, which is extremely important distinction. 3, masks are not effective in preventing the spread of COVID-19, certainly not cloth masks or surgical masks. 4, physical barriers and distancing are not effective at reducing the spread of COVID-19. 5, COVID-19 is not spread by surface contact. 6, masking children leads to physical and psychological harms. 7, children spread COVID at lower rates than adults. Finally, 8, children are at approximately no risk of severe disease or death from COVID-19. Like you, I'm extremely grateful that a child's risk of dying from COVID-19 is minimal. However, it's infuriating that we have ignored this blessing and forced children to bear the same burdens as the more vulnerable elderly population. Morally, adults should bear the sacrifices for the benefit of children. Instead, by forcing children to bear the burden of abnormal life and mitigation measures, we are asking children to sacrifice for the irrational fears of adults. Again, with adults vaccinated, why would we impose any restrictions? There's no logical basis, no scientific basis, and no moral basis for imposing restrictions or mitigation measures on children. I'm more than willing to answer any questions you may have. My contact information is in the paper. I'm more than willing to have a conversation about the issue with anyone here or anyone watching online. Thank you. Would you like me to come up there and hand these out or give them to Patty?
I can grab them. I can take them.
I printed off each one. So, do you want one?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Riley, Dale, Cody, Piper. They want to speak?
Oh, you didn't want to speak?
They just signed in.
All right.
Okay.
No problem.
Not a problem.
You have to now. You put your name on. You gotta come up and say something.
That's enough.
Anybody else?
No, that's all.
Okay. Mr. Knoll?
All right, hey, we have some proclamations to share. I'm going to take care of the first one, then I'm going to call out Mr. Cochran here in a minute. But I said long ago that we were going to allow the professionals to help me make decisions here in the district. And tonight I want to reach out to the Mahoney County Health folks, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Colton, and a gal named Susan Kovach specifically, who just happens to be a Canfield resident. Now, she couldn't attend tonight, even though I was begging and pleading her because of some other commitments, but I'm going to read this anyway. Whereas it is the intention of the Canfield Local School District to provide all students with the best possible education in a safe and healthy environment, and whereas Susan Kovach, Deputy Director of Community Health from Mahoning County, recognized and acknowledged the school's mission as well as difficulties during the current COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas Susan Kovach has responded on behalf of the school's needs, and whereas Susan Kovach has joined the school board and administration in supporting the youth of our community and strive to improve the well-being of our students by contributing the necessary knowledge needed to maintain a safe, healthy environment. Now, therefore, the Canfield Schools hereby proclaim its thanks and appreciation to Ms. Susan Kovach for her service to Canfield Schools and her dedication to our children. So, thank you.
Thank you. And you will be getting that to Mrs. Kovach.
Yes.
Mr. Cochran.
You know, first of all, you know, I would like to, you know, really thank Coach Wagner and the efforts he put forth this spring with track.
There you go.
You know, the time and effort that Coach O'Brien, you know, you talk about a gentleman that really is when you talk underpaid, he's underpaid. But the efforts he has, Coach Pajela with who worked with Oliver Kovas in the long jump, you know, did an outstanding job. And to talk about our young people that had the opportunity to compete in state, Cody, you know, phenomenal. Just what he does on a daily basis, practice-wise, his efforts. He comes to my office at 3 o'clock with his chair out, you know, every day. My door is about 200 pounds to push open, and Cody's putting everything behind it to get in. And says, Mr. Cochran, can you let me in the concession stand to get my chair? Oliver Kovas, you know, and I might be out of line, but the excitement, you know, I don't know, we finished, what, 11th, 12th, 13th in the state, but his first jump at 20 feet 5 inches, he went down with the goal. We didn't know if we could place. We knew we had a goal of setting a school record. And his second jump was an out-of-body experience. He broke it, he jumped an extra foot and went 21.5 and a half and broke that school record.
That's outstanding.
How many years has that school record been in place?
59 years?
59 years.
59 years.
Took to break that dang on thing.
But I think the best thing about all our kids is that they're very humble. You know, they show class. They show class everywhere they're at. They wear our colors very proud, and I tell you, it's a pleasure to watch. You know, I told my wife when Oliver broke the school record, I got choked up and I started crying like I am now. I was so darn proud. I was so darn proud of him because he went down with a goal and met that goal. That's the type of kids we have here, and that's what I appreciate about our kids at Canfield. I'm going to read the proclamation. Boys track, whereas Dick Plant was named first team All AAC in track and field 1,600 meter run and was a regional qualifier. Set new conference record, qualified and earned the Division I state track and field championship in the 800 meter run. And whereas Cody Piver competed in the 400 meter seated and 100 meter seated and was a state qualifier in boys track. And whereas Cody Piver placed 7th in the shot put seated. Now Cody PR yard by 2 feet at state. He went from, Scotty, 7.5 to 9.5 feet? No, I'm sorry, 9.9.
Nice.
Whereas Oliver Kovas was a state qualifier, breaking a 59-year-old school record in boys track and field long jump. And whereas Ryan Klicka was named first team All-AAC in boys tennis, and whereas Jimmy Delisio was named first team All-AAC boys tennis and qualified for districts, and whereas Jaden Jaffer was named first team All-AAC boys tennis and qualified for district. And whereas all these accomplishments brought to honor themselves and their families and their schools, therefore be resolved that these students be commended for these outstanding accomplishments, and that these resolutions be spread upon the official minutes of the Canfield Board of Education, and the copies be presented to them.
As these guys are coming down, I got a chance to go down to the state meet on Saturday to watch Nick run. And I was standing along the gate, my son and my wife went down, and I'm like Mr. Cochran, I got a little pumped up and excited when that
Oliver.
800 took off.
Oliver.
When the race was over, this woman standing beside me said, "Wow, who is that? Is that Canfield?" I said, "That's Canfield." She said, "Is that your son?"
Mike.
And I said, "No, but I'm a superintendent." And I
I'll grab a
ran
picture
around
of
the
you
track to get a picture with Mr. Cochran and all the kids up there, and it was just a great experience.
Thank you.
Watching, I wish I could have been able to watch these two guys on
I got you.
Friday as well, but very well done. Proud of all you guys. Great job.
Congratulations to all you guys. Wonderful.
Okay,
Personnel.
ready.
Okay, so let's take a look at our personnel. Under resignation, we have Addison Manoski, a CHS intervention specialist tutor, effective immediately. She was hired at last month's meeting. Regina Reynolds, our district school nurse, effective June 4th, 2021. I got to pause here. I haven't made too many good decisions maybe this year, but this was one. Miss Regina was named by me as the COVID coordinator this school year. And she did an amazing, amazing job. And she told me all her years of serving as a nurse, she felt like this was her best one because she knew she was needed every day on an issue that was just unbelievable for us to tackle. So a special shout out to Nurse Reggie. Then we have Karen Pavlov, who requested to change her retirement date from July 1 of 2021 to September 1 of 2021, Exhibit 1C. And then Michael Pavlansky, our CHS Social Studies teacher, effective August 15th of 2021, in Exhibit 1D. A resignation classified in Exhibit number 2A, Juanita Coggins, effective June 16th of 2021. Resignation under extracurricular, Amanda Blanco, 7th grade volleyball coach. Some hiring of our licensed staff under Exhibit 4, Paris Krug, CHS intervention tutor, effective for the 21-21 school year at $19.32 per hour, 7 hours per day, under Exhibit 4A. Corey Hazelton, CVMS intervention tutor, effective for the 21-22 school year at $21.06 per hour, 7 hours a day. And Nicolina Sorcella, middle school intervention tutor, effective for the 21-22 school year at $19.32 per hour for 7 hours per day. And then we have some elementary summer school teachers at $25 an hour, Ms. Megan and Ms. McKenzie. Under transfer and reassignment for licensed staff, Ms. Marissa Betts, from the Hilltop Title I tutor to our new Hilltop Grade 2 teacher, effective for the 21-22 school year at $46,429. Ms. Lisa Rapp, from C.H. Campbell CARES Act tutor to Title I tutor, effective for the 21-22 school year at 7 hours per day. Jennifer Trimble, from CARES Act tutor to Title I tutor at Hilltop, effective for the 21-22 school year at 7 hours per day. Ms. Monica Kalidas, from Hilltop Intervention Specialist to Middle School Intervention Specialist. And also like to approve under classified subs, Ms. Lillian Delmont, and also all of the hiring for extracurricular positions in Exhibit number 6. All those individuals as presented.
Per the recommendation of our superintendent, I would like to hear a motion, and I'm just going to condense this a little bit, for all of our new business. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, no, just 1, A through G. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Kluchar, second.
Any discussion, questions?
I just want to thank all those that are retiring that have given their years of service, and I'll kind of echo your sentiments about Mrs. Reynolds, because I think we've all experienced her in some capacity, and so that's thank her for this year as well, and everyone else.
Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Capua?
Yes.
So number 2, I'd like to recommend approval of out-of-state overnight field trip request in exhibit number 7, the girls soccer varsity JV teams going to Cannon University in Erie, PA, July 24th through the 27th, 2021, to participate in team camp, provided transportation, lodging, or paid by an outside organization. That's exhibit number 7A. High school cross-country team to travel to West Branch State Park, July 27th through the 29th of 2021, participate in running camp, provided lodging is paid by an outside organization in Exhibit 7B. And the boys soccer varsity JV teams traveling to Gannon University as well in Erie, PA, July 28th through the 31st of 2021 to participate in team camp, providing transportation and lodging are paid by an outside organization in Exhibit number 7C.
Based upon the recommendation of our superintendent, may I have a motion to accept the out of town overnight trips as referenced?
So moved, Wilkerson.
Campbell seconds.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. Capua?
Yes.
Number 3, I'd like to recommend approval with agreement with the ESC of Northeastern Ohio effective July 1 of 2021, estimated at $814,705.62, exhibit number 8.
On the recommendation of our superintendent, is there a motion to accept the ESC agreement for this year, July 1st, 2021?
So moved, Kluchar?
Atway will second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. Capua?
Yes.
Number 4, I'd like to recommend adoption of temporary appropriation measure certificate found in exhibit number 9.
Based upon the recommendation of our superintendent, do I have a motion to adopt our temporary appropriation measure certificate?
So moved, Wilkerson.
Campbell seconds.
Discussion? Can you clarify for me, please, what
Ms.
that?
Treasurer, you want to handle that one for us?
I didn't hear.
You want to explain that?
Explain number
Explain.
4.
Just in
Appropriation.
order, before the final appropriations are adopted in September of next year for the 21-22 school year, it's necessary to adopt a temporary appropriation certificate. So that's what this is, allowing, so we have the authority to spend July, August, and September.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Klucher?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. Capua?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend a motion to amend resolution number 7-2021 declaring transportation impractical.
Based upon the recommendation of our superintendent, may I have a motion to amend Resolution 7-2021?
So moved, Wilkerson.
Atway will second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. Capua?
Yes.
And number 6, I'd like to recommend a motion to award school bus bids to Myers Equipment Corp. for a regular school bus at $93,557 and a wheelchair accessible bus at $99,800. 8/18.
Based upon the recommendation of our superintendent, may I have a motion to award our school bus bid to Myers Equipment?
Atway so moves.
Campbell seconds.
Any discussion?
I will say buses aren't cheap.
No, buses are not cheap.
That's correct.
Is this regular bus a snub nose or a regular? Do we know what we're bidding on?
Do you know that, Ms. Treasurer?
I can't hear what
Is it a regular or a snub nose with a flap, do you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the specs.
Because
are.
our last,
I think,
I
yeah.
have the specs here, if you'd like to review them.
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Would you like to review the specs?
I can confirm.
okay, thank you.
I'll confirm.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Caprio?
Yes.
And number 7, I'd like to adopt a resolution number 170-2021, granting permission for the treasurer to request advances from the county auditor found in exhibit number 10.
Based upon the recommendation of our superintendent, may I have a motion to adopt resolution 170-2021?
Campbell so moves.
Second, Wilkerson.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes.
Our finance committee met a week or so ago to go over the treasurer's 5-year forecast. Committee members, I don't know if you wanted to share anything from that meeting?
You know, I'll just make a quick comment. So as Mr. Hawks noted earlier, I'm one of the guys with the science background, so I'm quickly learning the financial aspect, and Patty's done a phenomenal job at explaining our 5-year forecast and even just maintaining a nice and tight forecast. So I think going into this year, we questioned a lot of things from expenditure and where we were going, and we were able to do a nice job at what we needed to get done as well as maintain our spend. So from a fiscal responsibility, I like where we're at. Obviously, we'd always like to be better, but we're in a good spot relative to what we've endured, so thank you.
I just want to add, I was pleasantly surprised by how this year worked out, because we went from, it was a disaster when we first started going down this path, from the state cuts to all the rest of it. And then with our measly money we got from the federal government and the BWC money and all of that, we at least turned it into an okay year, I guess. We ended slightly in the black as opposed to disastrously in the red, so at least this year we got squeaked by, so that was good. Good job, Ms. Prince.
Yeah, I just want to highlight a couple things. When the forecast was done last November, there were a lot of unknowns surrounding the COVID pandemic. One being real estate taxes. We assumed that collections would be down because of perceived unemployment and hardships and so forth, but collections actually were 2.8% greater than the year before, so that line item changed. Also, we anticipated an additional 10% cut from the state over the previous year cut because of the COVID pandemic, but in fact, they reinstated part of the cut from the previous year. So both of those really helped out on the revenue side. On the expense side, the biggest change there is we are paying for some of the salaries out of ESSER federal money to free up those funds in order to pay for the rooftop units at the high school. And that's, you can see on line 3.05 capital outlay. So that was the biggest change in the expenditure side. And again, we started the year expecting deficit spending. Right now, I have projected $294,000 positive revenue over expenditures. So again, it's a fluid document. Things change the next day at the budget that the Senate, kind of threw out what the House, approved, and so now they're gonna have to conference committee and figure out what they're gonna do for the state budget next year, so we really don't know. I had budgeted a flat line,
Oh,
for the future, but that should be coming out in the next month or so. We should know where that's headed, so. And that's all I have. Mr. Knoll, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope, good report, thank you.
Thanks, Patty. Much appreciated.
Thanks,
Hectic-
Patty.
Very hectic year.
Very hectic year. Okay.
so we need a,
Donations?
no, I think we need a motion
need
to
a
accept.
motion.
Oh, motion.
Accept that.
We went right by that.
So,
Yeah, I have a motion to approve the 5-year forecast as stated, please.
Atway also move.
Second, Wilkerson.
Discussion? Can we hit that? Roll call, please?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
Ms. Treasurer, can you read over the donations for it?
Can, in a moment. If I can find them.
I thought I had them for that
Okay.
too.
Chipotle, $168.83 for Campo Players Fund. Speech and debate boosters, $1,500 for state nationals and awards. Campo Presbyterian Church, $500 for the Rescue Mission Fund. Lauren and Margaret Mitchell, Jason Mitchell, Kara Mitchell, Pet Kosh, $5,347 for the projector, projection screen, and wireless microphone sound system for the CAD lab in memory of Jim Hartshorn. That was presented at last meeting, but we didn't actually vote its approval. Richard Eberth, $2,000 for the Patty Eberth Memorial Nursing Scholarship. Comprehensive Urology Institute, $500. Middle School Principals Fund for T-shirts for the Innovation Fundraiser. Howard and Shirley Merritt, $5,500. Middle School Sensory Room. Krensky Tax Service, $338 for the 5K T-shirts. Total cash donations for the month, $15,853.83.
That's nice. Nice. Okay. Based upon this recommendation, is there a motion to accept the donations as read?
Campbell so moves to accept the donations.
Kluchar, second.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
You guys?
Nice donations, thank you to everybody that donated.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend the approval of our student and parent handbooks for next school year as presented.
Based upon the recommendation of our superintendent, may I have a motion to approve our coming year student parent handbooks?
Also move.
Second, Wilkerson.
Discussion?
I just have a question. Are these in the drive anywhere or
Yeah, they were in a folder.
a separate folder?
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of like with the weekly updates.
Ah, sorry about that.
That's all right. Yeah, I don't think we moved them over for tonight. I don't know if Chris did or not, but that's where I put them with your
Okay,
updates.
'cause I was looking under June then.
Okay.
So
I see parent student handbooks.
Yep, yep,
Got
okay.
it.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm just gonna ask for clarification, but there was nothing really major that changed from last year.
There were no,
Yeah.
actually no changes.
That's even better for me to
We did a little
process.
cleaning up and some moving some pieces and parts.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And
No
will these-
mention of COVID in there.
Absolutely,
Gone.
absolutely not.
Gone.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, I
Just
was
making
gonna
sure, I don't
say,
wanna put
if-
any voodoo on it.
No, there's no
If
voodoo.
these were to change, we can bring these up and reapprove them again before school starts.
Yes.
Very good.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
Well, I just want to take a couple minutes this week, just to be honest with you, I just tried to catch my breath and take a deep breath and just kind of do a lot of reflecting. For those of you that were at graduation or listened to it, I just kind of wanted to share some of those thoughts. First of all, you have a mug in front of you, and the mug says, "We made it." All right, we made it through the COVID year. I thought it was just kind of a cute little token of appreciation. There's actually a little poem in there. For those of you that are English people, some iambic pentameter for you. So feel free to enjoy that. I can't take credit. One of Miss Prince's assistants in our office did that, Miss Jan. So that's very nice. But obviously, I wanted you guys to get one of those mugs as well. So I just wanted to start with thanking our community for the warm welcome to Canfield. Got a lot of positives and a lot of good lucks to you initially, which I appreciated because nobody really knew what was going to happen. But even as the course of the year went on, just a lot of hang in there. Appreciate your effort. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And like I said at graduation, I wouldn't want to be any other place, any other time than Canfield, even with everything that went on this school year. Obviously, our teachers were amazing this year, and I made this comment, without our people being here, we weren't going to have school. As hard as I was trying, if we didn't have all our staff members here, it just wasn't going to come to fruition. But our teachers did a great job, followed the protocol, followed all the things that I asked them to do, and keep themselves healthy as well so they could come to work. Our administrative staff, when you guys brought me in, I barely had time to give them a fist bump, and we were off and running. I mean, that was just the reality with the online school and kind of the way we went. So just a lot of appreciation for them. It's a great team, and they did an outstanding job keeping us together this year. And then we talked about our nurses. I mentioned Nurse Reggie, but all our nurses this year, from quarantines to phone calls to dealing with everything that this year brought on. Our bus drivers, they had to get masked up and make sure the kids were and put them in assigned seats and do all that. Our cafeteria gals, our secretaries, and our custodial staff, maintenance people, just all across the board did a great job. And none of this maybe even happens without our parents. And I asked a ton of our parents this year. If you weren't a doctor, you had to be one when your kids left. Because what I asked you to do, take the temperature, do a symptom check, make sure they were good. I said, hey, if you could drive your youngsters to school, drive them, remember? Because we don't want to have 50 kids on the bus because we're worried about that. But our parents really rose to the occasion this year and did everything that I asked them to do. And when we had to pivot and make some changes because of the Department of Health or Mahoney County, we made those changes. And the parents were very supportive. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the 5 of you as well. I know this was a hard year, and you hear a lot as I do, but your support, not only just physically being here, the emails, text messages, whatever, for a superintendent, especially a new one at Canfield, that meant a ton. So, as I said at graduation, I'm amazed, but never surprised in Canfield, all right? And I'm going to stick with that. So, I just wanted to share that. Let's talk a little bit about strategic planning. We talked about that at our State of the Schools. We're going to push a survey out with our upcoming newsletter going out to the community. I've got some pieces and parts together. There's a lot of demographic area. We're going to talk about curriculum. We're going to talk about communication, finances, and facilities. Okay? So be looking for that to come out to you sometime next week. I'd like you just to give me your thoughts. Hey, we need some of this. Yeah, we need a little bit more of that. But Miss English and I have been working on that. That will go to all the stakeholders in the community. So that's kind of like the first push for strategic planning to kind of get that ball rolling. So be looking for that. We're signed up for the July 5th parade, right? Not the 4th, because it's Monday the 5th. So be ready. All right, so we're all signed up. We're ready to go there. We have a June 30 board meeting for the treasurer, right? Just don't forget about that. What time?
At noon?
At noon, right? Yep. And then our next meeting is July the 14th. And I wanted to give you a heads up. I want to invite our retirees with us. And we're going to go back a year even because we missed them, right, because of COVID. So next month, I thought what we'd do is just set up in the cafeteria, have a nice cake and punch, and invite all those folks to come in. We give them a nice little gift as well. If you haven't seen that, we'll roll that out. I won't give it up for people who are watching. But my thoughts were, if you're okay with this, is maybe doing like a 5:45-ish, like just a little gathering, just for some cake and punch. And then we would just come in at 6, invite the retirees to come in as well. We'll announce them and give them some recognition, if everybody's okay with that, on July 14th.
That sounds phenomenal.
Sound all right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a nice turnout, have some fun with it.
Hopefully, in the spring, we bring back, we have a retired teacher, retired staff / community pancake breakfast.
Oh, okay.
too, so
Okay, cool.
hopefully we get that back too.
I'm with you.
Because that's a good event.
Is that a Rotary event?
No.
Oh, just a school event? Okay, cool.
Puts it together.
Cool, okay. Awesome. Well, that's all I have, unless there's anything else.
What about moving
In August.
the August?
Oh, your August
Oh,
meeting?
yeah, do you guys want to chat about that today?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Let's just move it.
Yeah, I do appreciate
Our August
that.
meeting changing from that second.
Our scheduled August meeting was the 11th.
Right.
You want to go earlier or later?
For what it's worth, I may not be in that first week on.
Want to go to the 18th?
Maybe the 18th might be
I'm-
better?
Yeah, I'm not in the first week of August.
Okay,
either.
how about the 18th
Either.
then?
Yeah.
Mr.
Oh,
You
it's
good? Okay, thank you, guys, I appreciate that.
Remember, you're not allowed to answer your phone,
I won't.
no
No
emails,
text returns.
and I'm gonna test.
You've been
you.
talking, you're
I'm
gonna test me.
We've been talking to the missus.
You've been talking to my wife,
We've been
haven't you?
talking to the missus.
She already put me on court.
Yeah.
All right, all right, I appreciate that.
Okay, so August 18th?
Yep.
I'm just gonna make one comment too, just in support of everything you've said. I just wanted to thank you for everything, so you've thanked everyone, but we just want to thank, well, I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but I'll just say thank you for everything you've done. You reflect back and you look at what we started and where we were, and if, you know, talking about pivoting and having to do things on the fly, you did it all, and so we thank you for taking the helm, taking what needed to be done, and allowing us to be in school all year. So I remember at your introduction, it was a matter of, if not, you know, it's not a matter of if we will, it's when we were gonna do it, and we
Yeah.
never did it. So thank you for that.
appreciate that.
And obviously, thank you to the teachers, staff, and the administrators, and the students, and the families, but thank you to Mr. Knoll.
Because when you said that, honestly, you want to believe it,
Yep,
but boy, things were
Yeah.
not in a good place then.
I know.
So,
How about a fun fact? Every day of this entire school year, we got a COVID
COVID
report
update.
from Mr. Knoll. Every single school day.
Day.
We got a COVID report, and we got really good at responding with memes.
Yes, you did.
Yes, we did.
Yes, you all
We
did,
did.
yeah.
So we
I
had
learned a little
we had
bit.
our memes, and some of them weren't very nice, and some of them were great.
I think Mr. Atways, he wins the meme
There's some
contest.
creativity on the stage.
Yes.
I would
We had,
concur.
you had to, you know, make light
Yes,
of
you do, some levity.
some levity had to
Yeah.
be present, so.
It
but
was a
thank
great
you
team
again.
effort, everybody, it really was.
I'm glad we don't have to get those anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna miss that, nothing personal. Yeah, all
It's
right.
nice hearing from you, but
Yeah,
not
as well. yeah.
Not under those circumstances. Do we have any other business to attend to? Anybody? Looking good down that end? Okay. Well, then I will listen for a motion to adjourn.
You will hear one from Mr. Atwood.
Second, folks.
Meeting adjourned.
Mr. Wilkerson said.